How much did you miss Ema and then Landon in the second half?
Well, sure we miss him. What are you going to do? Part of the game. I think after 90 minutes, you got to kind of think that the game completely swings in their favor because of the altitude. You can see our team was dead. So you get into penalties and you can't ask for anything more. And when you lose in a penalty shootout like that, you can't blame anyone but yourselves, But to be there, that was the ideal situation given the circumstances of the game.
Jeff?
How would you assess the play of your attack today, and how much did not having?
I don't think either team was very good in the attack, to be honest with you. I thought it was not a well-played game, an intense game, obviously. A tight game because of the circumstances with aggregate, but it was generally, I think, a poorly played game.
Adam? Bruce, can you speak to the way the Yellow played today?
Yellow was very good. Might have been the best player in the field. He's a good player.
Bruce, you talked about going to penalty
Jermaine
kicks.
Jones wasn't too bad either.
You talked about going to penalty kicks. That's the best you could have asked for. With the 5 guys you had lined up, you look like.
I would say that obviously they have a very experienced goalkeeper and we don't. So maybe the difference today. Well, maybe it's the goalkeeper today. So maybe it was a good investment bringing Tim Howard in here. But he saved 2 of them, right? We missed 1, he saved 2. What can I say?
Jeff?
Bruce, it's been reported that your contract is up at the end of the year. Will you be back?
I don't talk about my contract.
Will you be back next year?
As of now, I am, but we'll see.
Go ahead.
Bruce, would you please comment on the job that Pablo's done with his team the whole year? I know
He's done a good job. I think what they've done is I think teams that play in altitude or play in artificial fields should have a real decided advantage in this league, and I think they took that to heart. They're a good, solid team. Not the greatest attacking team, but they defend well. They take advantage of the home field advantage here with the altitude and all. So they push hard as a team. They battle for 90 minutes, and I think it has produced results for them.
Ron?
Coach, you weathered an early storm, I thought. What did you
I
take
thought
out
our
of
first
that?
half, up until they scored a goal, was about perfect for us. And second half is we got into the last 15, 20 minutes. I thought we obviously looked tired, and the overtime we were dead. They were as well, but they still had more gas in the tank than we did.
Kevin?
Bruce, you guys are going for your 6th conference final in 8 years. Last year, Colorado was last in the conference. When you look at the league, is it harder to stay on top, easier to rebuild? Does it really matter?
This isn't like other leagues where you build a team and you say, this is going to be our team for 5 years or so, or 10 years. Your teams change. The makeup of your team changes a fair amount year to year, but never you never keep a team together in the long term because of our various rules and the salary cap, obviously. So it's difficult to have a real good team in this league that's consistently good like you see in the other leagues. And certainly I'm not trying to compare us to Real Madrid or Barcelona or Bayern Munich or the Chelseas, the Man Cities, but it's still there's not the haves and the have-nots. Sometimes it's all the have-nots. So it's really hard. And you can see the teams that were in the final last year didn't make the playoffs this year. So you kind of, the answer to your question, I think it's the big challenge in this league is to make the playoffs. And if you make the playoffs, anything can happen. And as I said, I think year to year it continues to be a challenge.
Go ahead.
What did you think of Kashi's goal?
He hit a great ball. Maybe maybe if our goalkeeper's techniques a little better, see, he has a chance to make the save. But yeah, he hit a good ball. The ball moved. You could see it knuckle a little bit. I don't think he was necessarily ready for the shot, but you know, the shot hits off the post and goes into side netting. Yeah, what can you say? It's the difference in the game.
Chandrima? Big question about Sebastian Leggett. How do you think he did today and overall this season?
Okay, you know, I think he had good moments. He's had a good year for us. Playing central midfield is a little different than playing as an outside midfielder. He's learning how to pass out of that position a little bit better. It's going to take him a little bit of time, but Sebastian had a very good year for us, and I think people probably look at last year where he scored a lot of goals in the early going, but I think this year probably he's probably a little bit better, although he didn't.
Did you think he fared well against Jermaine Jones today?
Yeah, they did fine. I think the midfield play was just a scramble today. It was collisions, you know. Everyone banging, you know, people on the ground too much and all of that. There wasn't great play in the game today. You know.
Jeff?
What was the extent of Landon's injury, and also do you think he'll be back next year?
I think hamstring. I don't know anything about next year. We just got finished playing. I haven't, got into 2017.
We'll take two more questions here and here.
I'll take as many as they want to ask. It's fine.
What do you think about Giovanni's performance today?
Not much of a factor. It's all part of his learning curve. He has to have a greater presence game in and game out to be a really special player. He has some great qualities, and I think as we get into next year, it'll be his second full year playing in his professional career probably, and he should be more demanding of himself that he has a greater presence game in and game out.
Go ahead.
Obviously, you know Pablo has a great deal of respect for you, going back a long way. What kind of, you two exchanged pleasantries coming out to the field before the game? Could you take us a little into that conversation a little bit?
I don't think it had anything to do with you know, we're just, you know, we've had a fairly long history. We're very friendly and respect each other. Just a few nice, I told him he looked like a headmaster in a private school. He had a blazer on, kind of khaki pants and a striped tie, so, you know, that was the pleasantries we exchanged.
Go ahead.
You mentioned a little bit of trouble getting Dos Santos and Sebastian involved in that midfield. What was causing some of the issues in there, other than the rough play that you mentioned?
And you know, fatigue. You know, yeah, the altitude does play a factor. You know, the different sports that you play in Denver, the difference is that they have timeouts and substitutions. In soccer, when you play at altitude, you know, like even overtime, these are prehistoric rules. You should be allowed at least another substitution going into overtime. So it really doesn't make sense. I've said that for a long time. I don't. You're basically punishing these players, and it's great to see they added extra time to the first overtime as well. It makes no sense. So you know we have no substitutions going in overtime. You know, and they have one. But it doesn't make sense. Somebody's got to think about this and say, games are going to extra time, which aren't that many. You're allowed another substitution.
Jeff?
Bruce, what did you think of Robbie and Steven's performances off the bench today, given that they haven't been playing that much?
I thought they did well. Robbie, the reason Robbie didn't take a penalty kick is he hurt his groin. And, you know, he couldn't take the penalty. And he probably got hurt about, I think about 30 minutes into his run. And I thought Stevie did very well. You know, Stevie's obviously been out about 8 weeks, and it's been difficult to get him back. And then today, you know, when called upon, he did a good job, and he took his penalty like you would expect Steven Gerrard to take a penalty. So there was he showed his professionalism, his experience, and his skill for sure.
Anybody else?
Thank you.
Thanks, Bruce.